The history of the companies that we hear today and history of the enterprises are interlinked with the social sphere, with the economics, or even the political history. The social political framework and the economic situation influence the action of the companies, and on the other hand, the companies themselves also influence the social environment, politics, and condition of the economy. The study of the enterprise, as we hear today from all of your presentation, is a very fascinating field to study and tell us about the company, the social environments, help us also make relations with the society, sell our products, and so on. In my today's speech, I want to show you some other view, because I want to highlight you the specific situation of studying corporate histories in Poland, and show you or tell you that when you want to research Polish companies or Polish enterprises, you need to go to the Polish State Archives and research their resources. Learning about history of specific company or enterprise is not possible without documents, as all our presenters said today. And to be able to learn this history, we need those documents. They need to be preserved. And there is crucial role played by business archives that take care of the records of the documents or the products even that the company creates. So, according to Ken Rife, the business archive can be defined as department of company engaged in systematic acquisition, preservation, handling of historical records of information and artifacts deemed to be lasting value for the purpose of documenting the establishment of the company and its subsequent development. In the contrast, the State Archives, the organization I represent today, we are the part of state administration. So it may be a bit strange that I'm here, but I will explain it later. The origins of State Archives in Poland date back to 1919 and to decree of organization of State Archives and care of archives. Currently, we are operating on Act on National Archive Resources and Archives from 1983. And the State Archives are a network that consists of 32 archives, 3 central archives here in Warsaw, and 29 regional or state archives that are all around Poland in major cities. And those archives are responsible, of course, for collecting, storing, processing, and providing access to the documentation they collect. And main of the collection, of course, because there are state archives, came from many types of government or local government institution, but not only. In state archives, you can also find collections that were created by private individuals, families, associations, schools, and so on as companies. As we hear today, the resources of specific business archives can be various from the products to their design, advertisement, image, photographies, and so more. And they are closely related to the profile of particular enterprise or particular company. They can be used to describe this company history, illustrate organizational changes, and secure the corporate accountability and compliance. However, I think maybe also the very purpose for existence of business archives is also maintenance of the strategic goals of the company, and preserving documentation is potentially intended to support broader corporate strategy, included, for example, for the promotion. On the other hand, state archives also we have this whole abundance of archival materials, but they are also treated as a part of our historical heritage, and they are kept as this historical heritage and for many purposes, for studying the Polish history, for example, of course, business history or some enterprise histories. As you heard in opening remarks, records of some companies are held by state archives because of the history. After the Second World War, and by the act from January 3, 1946, this was act of taking over the basic branches of national economy into state ownerships and some also implementing acts. This caused the nationalization of whole industry, or almost whole industry in Poland, which was, of course, in the accordance to new socialist state policy. For us archivists, for our archivists fall, it resulted that documentation produced by state-owned companies, state-owned enterprises, became part of national archival resources and was meant to be taken and secured by state archives. And this also applies to new enterprises that was created during this period until 1989. So when we want to write the history of Polish companies, especially with this one with very long and established traditions with long history, we need to go to the state archives. To give you some numbers, from over 100,000 archival collections that are stored in state archives, many of them are produced by many enterprises, industrial facilities, cooperatives, and some financial institutions. Based on that's how we categorize this collection, there are over 7,000 produced by economic industries, almost 3,500 by financial industries, and almost 5,000 by cooperatives. So this is a bit more than 50% of our archival collection that is stored in our archives. And they are mainly from 20th century, especially from period of Polish Republic, Polish People Republic, I'm sorry. But you can also find records that track back to the 19th century as well. We can see some significant companies that archives are stored in state archives. For example, Rosamed from Wrocław, that's now Master Cook, the producer of good-known household appliances. In Archive of Modern Records, we can find records from Union of Herbal Industry called Herbapol. Now it's divided into a few other companies. And also, as we heard, National Development Bank also is held there. And coming to the main point, in the State Archives in Warsaw, we can find records created by Wedel Johnstone Company in Warsaw. It's a very legendary confectionery chocolate company from Poland that now functions as Lotte Wedel, and it's owned by Japanese Korean Lotte Group. However, the historical records are kept by the company and also by the state archives in Warsaw, as I mentioned. Giving you a brief history of the Wedel factory, its beginnings date back to 1851, when the Karol Wedel came to Warsaw from Germany and established his confectionery and was starting to produce chocolate here in Warsaw. Then in 1864, he passed this company to his son Emil Wedel, that he expanded the company and created steam chocolate factory. Later, his son, Jan Wedel, the son of the Emil, was included into management of the factory. The name was changed to Emil Wedel and Son, and then was transformed into joint stock company, a Wedel joint stock company in 1933. Since 1930, the production was mainly here in Warsaw, in the Prague district. The main factory was there. During the Second World War, of course, the factory continued to working, but was forced to work for German forces. When the war was almost finished in 1944, the factory was robbed by the German troops. And in the October 1944, it's returned to operation. Also, Jan Wedel returned to the company, but he was forced to leave. And it was this period of the Wedels there are several studies about it, including one of the newest books by Łukasz Garbal, The Wedel's Chocolate Empire. During the popular People Republic of Poland, there was less attention to it. The company was nationalized in 1949 by decree from Minister of Industry and Trade. In the 1950s, this was renamed as the July 22nd Confectionery Factory or Chocolate Factory. It was merged with other companies, and it has 2 factories in Warsaw and also 2 located outside the Warsaw in Milanówek and in Płońsk. The enterprise also was developed in the 70s of the previous century, when the machinery was imported from Germany and Italy, and the factory was also expanded. But the situation got worse in the 80s because of declining situation, economic and political declining situation in Poland. And with the political transformation that began in 1989, the company was privatized and bought by PepsiCo and returned to this former name of Wedel. The archives produced by this company are, as I said, are kept by the State Archives in the Warsaw. There's almost 664 archival units that contains of 14.5 linear meters, and the date of this archives go from 1920 to 1998. As the inventory, the finding aid for this collection says, the records that are preserved, especially the one before 1945, are preserved only fragmentary. However, these records can be used and are used for studying this company and their various activities. And coming back to this collection, showing what you can find there, the one of the important group of records are the ones that are regarding organization and financial cases. For the pre-war period, we can find some account books showing the financial situation of the company. Also, we can see the contacts with some contractors or product prices. We can also mention that there are lists of workers' daily wages, also from Second World War, so we can study how it works during the war. And after the war, after the period of 1945, we can see documents that are describing the situation of the factory and its reconstruction after the war. And also from the People Republic of Poland, we can see a lot of orders of directors, some balance sheets of the factory, also some minutes or notes from meetings of collegial bodies, also some status or organizational charge of the enterprise, or also some planning, documentation, analysis, reports, and so on. We can also find a lot of documentation that is related to the products of the company. We can see that there are some recipes for products that were manufactured by this factory and some technological instructions. And in addition, this collection also includes some designs and packing packers, patterns covering that are for almost the whole operation of this company. We can also find the packages from the Polish that was sent to into Poland, also abroad. And also from studying the company history, there are also many more interesting documents. For example, there are some expert opinions from 1932 that describe the estate, describe the machinery and other belongings on the factory, or some documentation about expanding the factory also. There are also some materials strictly related to the history of the factory. There are some notarial documents, name books of the workers. We can also find there some photograph of the owner and the employees from 1926, a book with inscription of those who visited the factory in the years of 1949 to 1956, or even a chronicle of summer camps from 1963, or some documentation about 135th anniversary of the factory, and also many press clippings that are also related to the company. Due to the naturalization of enterprises in Poland after the Second World War, they came under the supervision of state archives. As a result, documentation is describing their activity, including organization, management, financial situation, employment, or productions, can be found in the state archives. In addition, also in the state archives, there are also records that are created by some government or local government institution, for example, municipal offices or courts, that can also be used when you study the company history. And I hope that considering this brief discussion of the records that are produced by Wedel and are now stored in state archives in Warsaw, we can see that it's almost impossible to study the history of factories, enterprise, or companies without using resource of the state archives. But we are open, and you can always visit us, and we are liking to cooperate. Thank you very much.